Welcome back, everybody. So our next guest is urging the Jamaican Bar Association to meet with Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke to safeguard lawyers against the financial risk of clients' funds lost in bank fraud. Interesting. Joining us now, Attorney at Law Bert Samuels. Good morning to you, sir. How are you? Thank you for joining us.
Morning to you and your guests and your listeners.
Well, you would be our guest, so we're saying good morning to you. Okay. It's good to be with you.
Hi to the other guests as well.
Good to see you, Sir Bert.
My left was a guest. Okay.
No. Anyway, we are happy to have you this morning, and we hope all is going well with you. Give us a little bit about the context of this call. What's happening?
Well, an avalanche of bank customers have come to my office saying I've lost money on the platform. It was the same platform which gave me the usual notices from my bank. And they were ripped off. And interesting cases where the person clicked on click here, and then it moved to all her funds being taken out, and then an online loan application was made. And that too was taken. So at the end of the day, she lost about $3 million. It's all gone. And that's frightening. So, I did the first article on her situation. And then I said, what about lawyers? Because we have a host of monies in the banks, which we are required to do, which doesn't belong to us. It belongs to clients. And what if the nightmare became real, that we lost these funds? And what's the bank's position? Are they readily refunding these monies? Are their platforms vulnerable? And they know that it's vulnerable and they are being protected by inaction from the state. And I said, I need to write to the president of the Bar Association about the high risks that we face as custodians of clients' funds.
Yeah, because there is a real risk, Bert Samuels, that a client will say, listen, you're the person who put my money in, and so I don't care about the bank. The liability should rest on you. Would they have a legal footing to say that?
Well, there's another principle of law that is readily appreciated, is if you know that there is a risk, your own experience and the experiences of others have come to your attention, then you have been put on notice that the funds are at risk. And you may need to move it to another institution, but what if the hackers are moving from bank to bank the same way that you're moving the funds from bank to bank? And there's a real risk of clients' funds. So I thought that, and I've spoken to others who say that the cost of protecting the funds of clients, it's there, the technology is there. It's just whether the banks are being forced to find the technology and put it in place.
So tell me what you would like to see done, Sir Samuels. What do you want to happen?
What I want to see happen is that there is more supervision of the banks and cases where funds have been lost, that the banks take responsibility for it. What they've been doing is saying, oh, you lost your money. Go to the fraud squad, go to the police. And I don't think that's where it should begin. It should begin with the bank. There's a particular laborer who saved all of his monies working in the sun, and he lost $500,000 to another NCB account. Now, this is interesting. They moved his money from that account to another account. Should I call the bank's name? Maybe I should. And it was a loss in the bank itself from one account to another. Now, what the police, the bank must have taken due diligence on its each customers, and you know how difficult it is to open a bank account. They must take responsibility. The banks must take responsibility and stop sending us to the police.
Have we ever had a case? I mean, I can't remember. There might be, where a customer will say, well, don't send me to the police. You are responsible for my money, and I'm going to take you to court because I've lost my money and you need to be responsible. I'm going to take out a civil suit against you. Is that a course of action that is available?
I like when clients say, I like when the public say, take them to court. Do you know how long it is to get your case heard in court?
I know.
We're looking at let me see, 2030.
Wow.
Heavily disputed case, you're going to be on trial in 2030 once you go through the entire process. So taking you to court is, they get wind up in the system, and your money was to buy a house down the road. The house is gone and you're less destitute. Now, I accept that if you're careless to give your daughter, your friend, your PIN number, and you've lost your money, that's your problem. I'm trying to make sure I'm not dealing with cases where there's negligence on the part of the customer.
Right.
I'm talking about a customer who had just been fleeced. You go in and several persons have said, money's missing from my account.
Yeah.
I give no one my PIN.
Yeah.
So those are the instances that I want. And also, I don't want my own clients to think that our monies are, going to disappear. No,
Yes.
I have a duty to the public, a duty to my profession to point out the risk and hope that it will be covered.
What's the feedback from the association?
Okay, it's more feedback from on Twitter and other platforms to the letter I wrote that persons are genuinely concerned. They say they appreciate the fact that I'm pointing out the risk to them, and they want the state to take action so that banks will take responsibility for your funds. I mean, we have to put your funds in the bank. That's what they say. The regulations, the canons are that we must put your funds in bank accounts. And therefore, if you herd a set of animals into a pen, then you must protect the pen, right? So it cannot be penetrated. And therefore, the state and the rules for lawyers is that we must put your funds in the bank. We can't keep over equivalent of $10,000 in cash in our offices. So if you're forcing us to go to the bank, then it must be a safe house. And right now, the public will tell you it's not a safe house. There are numerous complaints about hackers getting into the system, and sometimes it's internal hackers. It is members of staff of the bank which has penetrated these accounts who know how to get to your funds. So the protection is immediate and urgent.
So, well, it's immediate and urgent, but calls like this, especially when it comes to processes and protocols, the response is usually as quick as molasses, Sir Samuel. So in the interim, what do we do? I mean, JDIC is there. I've always found it interesting that no matter what you have in the bank, if you lose your money, JDIC is only giving you back $1.2 million.
1.2 million. Okay, I mean, that's not even the deposit that
Correct.
the person is going to turn his office.
Correct. So is that something that we should be looking at as well?
That is another thing, but you're going to look at the cost factor, and those charges that we're paying is to pay for the premiums on those policies, so that if you're going to up the bank charges and put the responsibility on the customers, we are paying for protection to the bank that the bank should be itself providing. So we have to be careful when we say we should increase the 1.2 million, because it may just increase the bank charges. And bank charges go up seemingly just every 6 months. The bank charges go up.
Yeah. All right. I mean, you've given us a lot of food for thought. So we wait to see where this goes. And if there is an answer to the call, because I feel it really is a matter that needs to be addressed, sir.
Totally. And the president has not yet responded. I'm sure that he's going to eventually. The banks are they sacred cows? I think, do they finance campaigns?
Oh, my. This is another discussion for another segment.
It would never be an interview with Bert Samuels if we never ended on that kind of note.
Oh, my gosh. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate you stopping in this morning.
So, my pleasure. Thanks for sensitizing the public to this real serious risk.
Absolutely.
Attorney at law, Bert Samuels.
My goodness. Okay. Coming up, youths advocating for better mental health practices. We have more on Smile after this break.